Good morning, my wonderful thrifty friends. Welcome to our regularly scheduled morning live. I have a pretty kind of packed but quick live today. We are going to be doing a unboxing and a swatching of a brand new 24 half pan watercolor set. And we are going to be touching just a little bit on Thrifty Pastel Month. Now, I did make a promise to you guys that I would not like totally plaster the month of November with Thrifty Pastel Month. We do have post dates on Sundays, so definitely every Sunday video throughout the month will be about some form of pastel, following along with the prompt, and hopefully offering you just a little bit of insight on that particular type of pastel, whether it's the actual medium or whether we're using a pastel tone in or color, from like watercolors, gouache, color pencils, watercolor pencils, anything that wouldn't be considered the actual pastel medium. Now, yesterday, we did have a video come out where I used the Mark Premium Extra Soft Pastels in order to do a sort of seascape silhouette that was almost tropical because it did have some palm, palm frond silhouettes in it. This is like a 5x7, and the whole entire point of that video was to try to give a few details on the difference in the quality of oil pastels, a little insight into blending, and just a really, up close look at the way I would use oil pastels, on a quick basis. Now, we will be touching on this just a tad bit in today's video. I did want to kind of elaborate on blending oil pastels because I've had so many questions about it. And, if we have people here in the chat that is actually interested in it, you guys definitely let me know because we will go over some different ways of blending oil pastels, if there's something that suits your fancy and rocks your boat. Now, before that, the video before that, we were testing the Soho Urban Artist stretched watercolor paper. I had to think of what it was called. Um, this is what we ended up opening in that video. It's a hot pressed 140-pound paper that is stretched around a wooden frame stapled on the back, so it resembles a canvas, but it's not actual canvas paper. It's watercolor paper, and it is 100% cotton. So I'll show you. Well, and I'm gonna save that one for the review. But this is what we ended up painting in that video, and I'm going to be doing a review on these stretched watercolor panels coming up here really soon. It'll probably be on a Wednesday because I'll do a demo with it, and I'll use another water soluble product on that last canvas before I offer my opinion on the quality and how they work. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. I had not painted glass in a while, and I kind of wanted to see if I still had a knack for it at all. Did some cosmos, threw in a quick background, but I treated the canvas more like I was would be treating a flat piece of non-stretched watercolor paper. So I actually taped the edges off so it would still give me a border, although this is, resembles a canvas. I still think the effect is pretty decent. And I had a few reasons for doing that, which I'll cover more when I get to the review. But overall, pretty decent experience. And yeah, so that came out before the oil pastel. Anything before that we would have already covered in last Monday's live. So tell me, how's everyone? What have you all been up to? Who has tried and given the first prompt of Thrifty Pastel Month a go? And it was fluffy. Now I have one or two posts over on Instagram so far where I've been tagged. I'm just thrilled to see you guys posting and tagging. It does my heart all good. And just to know that the whole idea behind this actually inspired somebody was really, 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 really cool. So, if you're participating, if you've been, working on your prompt, let me know because, it's a week's prompt. You can post it at any point during November that you want. Just be sure to this was week 1, tag Thrifty Pastel Month in it, and tag Thrifty Apprentice in it, so we'll all get a chance to see it. All right. Okay. Then let's just go ahead and jump on into today's video, friends. So I have some watercolor paper here that I've made some swatch sheets out of, and I want to take a look with you guys at the Hemi Hyatt's watercolor 24 color kit, professional, safe and non-toxic, bright colors, good quality. Now it says professional, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is. That's one of the main things we are going to be testing for. If you flip up the box over on the back, it does give you him. It gives you a color swatching. Now, ironically enough, the sticker that they put on the back covered up half of the swatches and half of the information. So, Hemi, if you're listening to me, or whoever is distributing this for Hemi, if you're listening to me, don't do this. Do not do this. That's not cute. Okay. I would love to be able to see the information there. And I guess I should be happy because most sets, a lot of budget sets do not come with the relevant information to begin with. So maybe I'm just, being picky, but I would love to be able to see, because the information chart is covered to let you know what the light fast stars mean. Some of the transparency is covered there. So it would be hard to use the chart to gauge what they are claiming the quality of the paint should be. So this is something to keep in mind. And I don't know, maybe every Hemi box that goes out is not like that, but I can only judge things based on mine, and that's how this one is. So I'm gonna see if I can slowly remove this without ripping it or leaving sticky behind on the box. Okay, I think we did good there. Let's see. But yeah, companies don't do that. That's tacky. So UPC code right there. But this does let you know that it's Hemi Travel Watercolors, and it says again professional artist. All right. It's a watercolor kit. Maya Stationery Company. It gives the address for the company in China. There's a phone number as well as a website, mayaarts.com. It lets you know that it's made in China, and it has a shelf life of about 3 years. And it does conform to the ASTM 4236 safety regulations. There's a lot of different emblems here. One, not for kids, 0 to newborn infant to 3. There's a recycling symbol here. It lets you know that there's choking hazards for small parts, so it's probably referring to the actual half pans. It contains 24 color watercolor paints, paintbrush, and color chart. Let's pop this open. Of course, it's not going to be that easy. All right. Okay, we have a white tin. It's wrapped in cellophane, so we're going to have to open a little more here. Well, I should have used my thingamabob, right? Watch this. Bam. Look at that. Look how easy that was. I'm so glad I found my thingamabob. I don't know what to do. All right. Okay, it's sort of a, I don't know, sort of a cream, maybe a little creamier than eggshell color tin. Kind of different. I think I kind of like that. Doesn't seem to be damaged. There's a thumb ring on the back for plein air painting, outdoors painting. I never use those. They always seem really flimsy, especially with any kind of tin that's, more than maybe 12 half pans or 6 full pans. It just seems a little weird to hold, but it's there for those people who do like it. There is 4 mixing wheels in the top, and it does seem to be pretty secure with the latching there. All right. We got an additional fold out mixing tray, which seems to be pretty flush with the tin. So I'm not having to do any magical maneuvering. Oh, but the minute I said that, the little rod started to push out. I'm gonna push that back in there. But still doesn't seem to be too many issues. We have a swatching sheet, and I'm willing to bet this is on Hemi's watercolor paper now. Hemi's 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. I don't think it's 100% cotton. It might be. Either way, it is a super good paper, but you can typically only find it inside like their watercolor sets. So it just so happens that the paper we're going to be swatching on today is also Hemi. This is an additional pack of Hemi paper that came in that 36 count square set that we've looked at before. And I told you guys I was definitely removing the paper because I actually like the paper, and it's not easy to find Hemi's paper. Yeah. So that's that. There is an overlay, and the overlay tells you all of the relevant information. It's going to give you the color name, the pigment numbers, excuse me, the light fast information, the transparency information, as well as what appears to be the color stock number for the company, which typically indicates that you oh, excuse me, one second. I'm sorry. Which typically indicates that you may be able to buy the colors individual or open stock. Now, I do know that you cannot purchase Hemi open stock in the United States market, but that doesn't mean that in their main market of Asia that you can't, and you probably could. And I know this particular line, because Timmy has several different lines. This particular line makes a half pan set as well as a tube set. But it just so happens that the half pan set is what was gifted to the studio, so that's what we're looking at. In addition, there is a brush. Oh, it's encased inside its own plastic tubing. Look at that, friends. First time I've seen that. Of course, I will be opening this up real quick, pull it out, and I will be keeping that tube for crafting purposes. Yes, that's going to come in handy. All right. We have a brush that is not marked with a number, sort of gives you, it's playing along the design of the calligraphy brush look. Um, Plastic wrapping around the ferrule with metal. So it's a pretty economical brush. Feels pretty solid. No scratching or misprinting on the lacquer. Medium, I would have, if I had to guess, that's about a number 6. Does have sizing in it, so we'll wash that out because we will see what this brush is going to give us during the swatching. Let's see. It still comes to a pretty decent point. We'll just need to see, Seems to be synthetic squirrel, if I had to guess. All right. And then there was also a cap on there. So the brush was double. They put a lot of protection around that brush. You would think that it was like master level white, right? So we have a removable tray, 24 half pans. You have your adjustable clamping metal tray here. Seems to be pretty bright. I'm going to tell you right off, those paints look eerily similar to the vibranium art paints. Interesting. Now, when we did the vibranium art review and testing, I told you guys that for it to be an unknown brand, those were some of the best. Those paints had really good quality to them. I was really putting them on professional level, although I'd never heard of vibranium art. With that said, I had a viewer tell me at the time because I thought, well, maybe they were superior master level paints relabeled. And then someone jumped in the comment section and told me, well, I've heard that they were Hemi professional paints relabeled or white label. So that's when I became interested in this set. I do remember mentioning it on I don't know if it was a video or a live, and then the paints showed up at the studio because you guys are you're good about that. You're good about me talking about a product and then it shows up at the studio. Thank you all so much for the support and confidence. I really appreciate this. Yeah, let's take a look at the half pans. Half pans seem to be pretty full to the top, but there is a small like indentation, almost leading you to believe that the paints are hand poured versus machine cut, which again eerily similar to the vibranium art paints. And if they were not so deep down off in my professional art bin, I would actually go dig those paints out real quick, just so you guys can see the stunning, and I do mean very stunning visual comparison between those paints just right off. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that they're the same paint, but that's definitely something to keep in mind right off. I was trying to see if maybe they were at the top of my professional paint 10 bin. Try saying that 10 times fast. Um, but I don't quite see them right off, and I don't want to, waste too much time. So we're just gonna keep moving. I'll spray these down. I'll check the comments section, and then we will get to swatching and seeing what we got going on. I need to put more water in my spray bottle because it's not continuously spraying anymore. Um, so I took some of the Hemi watercolor paper and I made these cute little swatch sheets. I think what I'm going to start to do, of course, I'm not going to use this stamp set because this is Christie's stamp set, and whatever. I definitely wouldn't want to, cross any lines with this. But what I am going to start to do, or what I am going to do, is put together a bunch of whimsical swatching sheets that will be printed out on 100% cotton watercolor paper and make them available on the Defiant Art website, just in case anybody wants to get their hands on pre-made whimsical swatching sheets. Now, with that said, let's get into this. I'm going to skip the white right off, and we are going to start with, uh, yeah, I should have had my glasses on. The first one, which is lemon yellow. And the only reason I'm looking at this is because, well, maybe it'll help. Now that would help, but I kind of want to fill that swatch sheet out. So let me see if I can put that. There we go. That way I can see that. And we're going to start out with lemon yellow, my friends. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. First, oh definitely. So we're going to go in kind of mass tone right off in our first block. And this is just the way I do some of the whimsical swatching sheets. Listen, doing them this way can help make swatching none. Um, I've had a lot of people tell me, I get bored with swatching, and I think this will help. Having whimsical, cute swatching sheets that you can play around with kind of helps definitely. So I'm going to add a little paint, a little water, and I'm going to do my watery wash here below just to see how much it'll shift. And then I'm going to take that and paint in my berries. And while it's still wet, I'm going to grab a smaller brush, going directly into my mass tone. And excuse me, letting it run. There was green on that brush, and I did not know it. How unfortunate. Anywho, the paint still ran, so that's all that matters. All right. My throat is tearing me up right now, guys. I do not know what's going on. Give me 1 second. This next color that we're looking at is cadmium yellow medium hue. Now, there is where the non-toxic comes in, because so they are not using real cads, which makes me believe that if we run across a color that says cobalt, more than likely it will say hue as well. Add some water to that. They're down on the bottom. See what we got going on. Let's blend in our berries. I love doing swatching sheets like this. It actually helps you get pretty quick information on something. Now I'm gonna go and around the edge, drop in mass tone. What I'm trying to see if it's gonna flow into that berry. That's what I'm testing for when I do that. Seems to have about as much flow as I expected it to. Now that lemon yellow is PY3, again, pretty stable pigment. The cadmium yellow hue is actually a dual pigment. It's a PY213 and a PY83. Interesting. We're going to move on to the cad orange. Again, they're using the word hue. Paints re-wet amazed. I mean, they're ready to go. Definitely ready to go. That re-wet went a long way. Hopefully we won't be seeing too huge of a color shift when we get to dry phase. Okay. And if you're wondering, yes, I will be going back and painting in the leaf section of each one of these with green. I like doing, whimsical things to my swatching sheets, turning them into, ooh, beautiful flow on that one. Look at that. Okay. We got some flow going on with them. I can already tell you I'm going to like these paints because I really believe that they are the Vibranium Art paints, or Vibranium Arts are a white label of these Hemi paints. I believe that it only took me a few pans in. Now this next one is Punchu? Ponceau. In case I'm pronouncing that wrong and someone knows what that is, that's what it is. One, two, cadmium. So it's like a red. It's almost vermilion from the look of the tone. So I'm gonna assume that definitely some of the color names are changed from set to set because I don't remember that color name in the Vibranium Art paints, but it has been a couple of months since I tested those. So these are beautiful paints, though. Very well. Once I saw that they were like vibranium, I'm not surprised, but one would be surprised from the packaging as to how uh, these paints paint out. It's very pretty, very pretty. So I'll do a swatch sheet. I'll check the comments section because we got quite a few of these to get through, considering there's 24 paints. Uh, so yeah. Yeah, the flow, they definitely flow, friends. There's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna get some flowy paints with this set. I don't know if I'm gonna review these actually, because I think I've already reviewed these with vibranium. But there's swatching sheet one. I'll go back and fill in all the names when they're dry. And just so you'll know again, there's lemon yellow, cad yellow medium hue, cad orange hue, and punchy, punchu. Yep, vermilion. That's what it is. Beautiful colors. Beautiful colors. But yeah, definitely. Those palettes, everything today is shipping day, so I always tell people we only ship once a week here. When you order, there is a processing time. Now, the website doesn't actually, in the ordering process, like say, I don't know. I've got to really work with GoDaddy because that's the site that hosts my web page, and there's some things that I need to go and I need to call custom care about, see if we can get fixed and taken care of. However, when you order a palette, whether you order it from Etsy or whether you order it from the website, there's a processing time. There's a 5-day processing time, to be exact, 5 business day processing time. And then the pallet ships that week after the processing time has complete. So for any pallets that were ordered over the last week and a half, the processing time has finished and they would be, shipped out in today's shipment. And then this evening by close of business, tracking numbers will be emailed. Just in case anyone was wondering. No one has made a big deal about anything, but I'm just saying. Keep you guys informed. And I may just have to work with GoDaddy the way they are now because other website hosts out there, they are the most economical. And considering the fact that I don't have any type of endorsement business wise, um, all business expenses come out of my pocket with the exception of products that are sent by you wonderful, amazing people for review. Which reminds me, I need to show you guys something that's going to be coming up in this Wednesday's video release. Speaking of companies sending stuff, I really like the flow. I mean, these are, yeah. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to do a review on this. I really am. But I really don't think you need the vibranium art in the Hemi paints as well. I'm going to do a review just because it's probably the parent brand, Hemi is. So we've started our second swatch sheet here, friends, and this fifth color? One, two, three, four. We're this was Maya Red, which is actually a very beautiful color. PR 254 single pigment, really good. Um, then there is what I'm working on now, which is your Viral Crimson. It is PR 264. And I'm not talking about light fast ratings just yet. I'll do that once I get to the review. The only thing I'll say about that at the moment is I don't seem to see any unstable pigments right off, and the stable pigments that seems to have been chosen have pretty high light fast rating. Nice. This is a nice paint. I think it would probably come down to which one is cheaper for me. Ironically enough, the Vibranium Art set is higher for a couple of reasons. Vibranium Art presents theirs in the wooden palette, which is super cute, super durable. The Hemi comes in just your regular wood, regular tin, but of course, it's not of a normal color, which is really cute. Let's see. Don't worry, friends. I'm coming back to the comment section. I just want to make sure I get through swatching the paints with you guys before I have to jump off. This next color is called Rose. So it's probably going to be the more magenta leaning color. It's very pretty paints. Now, as I was saying, when it comes down to choosing between this set and the Vibranium Art set, I would probably say that this set is going to be more economical because it didn't come with all the expensive presentation for the actual palette. But I'm about 80% sure at this particular point that these are the same paints. Oh, I love the flow. So gorgeous. I'm sorry, I had that brush in my mouth. I love the flow. So, 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 so gorgeous. Next up, we're working with manganese, manganese, manganese. I said that right. Violet. Yeah. Decent brush. It's not too bad. Maybe not the crispest point I want it to be, but definitely can be worked with. Much better than your super economical mass produced brushes that you can get inside some sets. Now, I will say that that violet is not as strong as some of the other colors. I don't, as the other colors we've come across so far, but we'll see. Pigment number for that one is PV16. Again, a single pigment color. Beautiful. Not quite as saturated and rich as dioxazine, which is probably my favorite violet color, but pretty nonetheless. Pretty nonetheless. Yeah, very pretty and beautiful. All right, friends, that is that four. Lift it up, take a look at it there. Beautiful colors. Now I'm gonna go back up here and do some glazing, of course, but just kind of letting you guys see where we are. Play around with your swatching. Here I put down a lighter watery wet wash of my color. Then I went back in with a wet mass tone and just dropped it in and just let it flow and do whatever it's going to do inside those berries. Okay, let's keep moving. Always all. Oh, so this must be Doxazine. This is. Yes, it is. This is Doxazine. Oh, look how beautiful. Love this color. It is the bomb.com color. There are a few colors that I feel this way about. Most of you probably already know what they are. Dioxazine violet, yes, Prussian blue, Payne's gray. See, these are see, these colors that you guys hear me talk about so much are probably colors that end up in a palette if I was to ever release one. Um, rephrase when I release one. Ooh, such a pretty color. Such a gorgeous, pretty color. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, so oh, I'm picking up the wrong one. I can multitask now. I really wanted to kind of get to showing you guys what it would be to blend some oil pastels today. But if we don't make it there, don't worry. You know, this entire month we're concentrating on those things. So, and I'm just kind of setting it and forgetting it when it comes to doing the berries. That was the Oxazine Violet, and we had single pigment of PV23. We're going to move on to Sky Blue. Sky blue is also single pigment PB17. PB17. Now, I know to some people, me calling out these pigment numbers are not going to make one difference of iota at all. And to some people, it will. So, you know, if it matters to you, I'm glad I'm providing it for you. If it doesn't matter to you, then hey, don't let it matter to you. Judge the paints based on what you normally do. It's a little weak for me. But I think I felt the same way about the light blue and the vibranium Artsy. Well, a little, but it's a pretty color. So you're more cyan color in the set. It's so pretty. It really is. All right. Next up, we have phthalo blue, one of the And best mixing blues, in my opinion. Very clean mixing blue. Very common color in a lot of paint palettes. And I'm sure most of you already know the pigment number for phthalo blue, but just in case you don't, it is PB15:3. I ain't know no better. I would say that paint had granulation in it, but I think that's the paper. See a little something right there. Like, what's that? That can't be phthalo blue doesn't normally granulate. Oh, that's, I mean, not unless it's like a granulating set and they put something in it to force it to granulate. Oh, that's sky blue. Let's not get the wrong color, Ken. Nice. All right, and then we're gonna move on to what's this? Prussian blue. Now I noticed that they have a Maya red, a Maya ultramarine. So I wonder if those are intended to be the primaries. Interesting. But I would have thought that they would have used phthalo blue as a primary instead of ultramarine. That just would have made more sense. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, but let's go ahead. Let's get it on the paper, see what it looks like. And then again, we'll jump to the comments section once we finish this one. Trying to keep all of the blocks of information together for editing purposes. Because I can't tell you, some of the lives I've gone back and done, especially the ones where I'm like working on the project and checking the comment section at the same time versus just doing the comment section as its own segment, has been rather hard to edit. And I can imagine anybody watching those replays are like, okay, why is it cutting so much? So I just kind of want to try to prevent that. Always trying to think ahead to make the experience better for you guys. And let's get those berries filled in. This is a rather, you know, I'm about to use it in mass tone to really see how I feel about this Prussian blue. Let's see here. Oh, it's a nice color. It's definitely a nice color. Let you guys see that real quick. Beautiful. Right. We're almost done. We got wait, 12 more to go. Because I'm going to swatch the white at the end. So next up we have what they're calling Maya Ultramarine, which I'm assuming is just regular ultramarine that they've given a cute name to kind of match the branding, which are different from the actual Maya colors produced by Turner. And this is where I find it's a little confusing and conflicting to call them Maya anything. Because Turner professional line of watercolors is known for their exclusive production of Maya paints. And they are the only company, if I'm not mistaken, that produces that particular Maya paint formulation. They're supposed to be ancient pigment formulations that have not necessarily been used in the market for a while, that Turner put into production to add as exclusive colors to their professional watercolor line. Now, with that said, I've tested and reviewed Turner paints. I think they are a really clean, really cool professional paint. Japanese made. I happen to not like their Maya colors though, ironically. I think that they're weak and some of them are super hard to re-wet. But again, that's just Ken's opinion. Okay, why can't I get that to come off? Come here. I need a good swipe. There we go. Ooh, the ultramarine is pretty. It looks like I'm getting some granulation, which is what we want to see with a true PB29. Yes, I did not call the pigment number at first. Next up we have yellow green, and this is going to be dual pigment of PG7, which we know to be phthalo green, and PY3, which is the common pigment for lemon yellow. Pretty color. Just, this is one of those colors for me that is a little bit too sort of artificial looking by itself. I typically have to add something to it to earth it up, but it's still a useful color. Beautiful, beautiful. It almost looks like it has a neon in it. And that's not just this set, that's every set I've seen this particular pigment makeup in a paint. And I think it's because they're using more of the PY3, the lemon yellow in it, than they are the phthalo green. So it has, oh, stomach growling. Sounds like I'm gonna be eating me some ramen when I get off of here. All right, next up we have medium green. That's okay. Just medium, medium green. Is that a version of phthalo? Okay, let's back up. I'm sorry. So the yellow green actually had PY 151 versus PY 3. So PY 151 and PG7 phthalo green. The medium green is the one that has the PG7 phthalo green and the PY 3. That's interesting. And this one definitely has way more phthalo green in it than it does have any yellow. So it's funny how you can kind of mix the same pigments to make different valued shades of a color. This is actually really pretty. It almost reminds me of what most sets call an emerald green. I should have added a little bit more water to that to get a more watery shift, but that's okay. Let's go in here and drop in some color. And then we will be grabbing mass tone medium green, as they call it. We're gonna go and just kind of paint some of that in. Now that one didn't flow as much as the rest of them did, but still pretty color. Let's finish up the last one here. We're going to be moving on to phthalo green, which we already know is PG7. And it's going to be really interesting to see if there's a huge difference. Not much. There is a difference, but not much one. I kind of figured as much the minute I put that one down. It definitely has a lot more phthalo green in it than it does the PY3 yellow versus the first green, which had more yellow in it. And this is definitely what I expected. Sound like it may rain a little bit. Oh, it is raining. Ain't no May rain about it. It is really raining. I'm going to be getting plenty of wet today in between lives trying to get all this stuff done. And there we have it, going into our greens. All right, let's see. I'm having to move these little babies around here. That ultramarine blue is doing a really look at the granulation. Very nice. Very, very nice. The granulation there seems to be strong, so you could mix it with other colors and probably force them to granulate. All right. Next up on our list, we have tree green. Tree green? That's interesting. Tree green is three pigments: PY83, PG7, and PR101. Oh, that's olive. Why do they call it tree green? Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely an olive green, olivey green color. It's not really rich. Let's see. There we go. They re-wet really easily because, of course, they've had a chance to dry, and I feel like they're almost like maybe have a semi-moist texture to them. They definitely hold a gloss once they dry. Definitely hold a gloss. Beautiful. I really like that color though. That's really nice. Next up, we have earth yellow. So the tree green, I told you, earth yellow is PY42. Okay, so yellow ochre. Although it looks a little milky for yellow ochre, it does say a single pigment, so we'll see how it looks when it dry. It just looked a little milky coming out of the pan. I could be panicking for nothing. Let's see, I'm add some water to that because I want to get the flow done. And then I'll grab Mass Tone with my smaller brush. Just kind of go back in and dab in that paint, let it flow around. Next up, we're going to have burnt ochre, which more than likely is the burnt sienna of the set. Yeah, I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of these um, in the vibranium, because the thing is, if by chance I do ultimately decide that the percentage is greater than an 80% chance that these are probably the same paints, I'm more than likely not going to review these versus just doing a comparison. And then that way you'll be able to go back and just watch the vibranium art review. Um, if you're interested or curious in the way these work, I will say that these are going to definitely, as we've already established, be cheaper than the vibranium art set. That's going to definitely be the case. Not unless people start ordering a lot of the Hemi and then they jack up the price, but I doubt that happens because, again, they don't have the overhead that vibranium is going to have to produce the paint. Hmm, I don't know. It's decent. It's what is it? Burnt ochre. It's a PBR7. Ooh, I like them for that though. Much better than PR 101 in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Next up, we have Burnt Umber PBR7 and PR 101. Speaking of, PR 101 just seems to be a little bit more red and less brown to me, whereas PBR 7 seems to be more brown and less red. That's just me. And add some water to that. Now, more than likely, over in Patreon tonight, we are going to actually be using this set to paint a composition with. I know I haven't put up the post for the live tonight for Creation Station over on Patreon, but it will be going up behind this. I'm tending to wait till Monday to actually put it up because I want it to be at the top of the page. That way, anybody, people who may not be familiar with the way you should look for stuff on Patreon, will find it easier to access. It'll be right at the top of the page, but it will happen every Monday. Still. There we go. Beautiful earth tones. I love this entire page. I'm gonna be honest. This entire swatch page is gorgeous. Those colors are pretty, pretty, pretty beside each other. Look at that. That would make an absolutely gorgeous fall color palette. Very nice. Very nice. All right. And next up we have Sepia PBR7. So this is actually just a different, I think they heat it a little different to give it a different hue like this. But this is actually the color, the pigment color that I like for burnt sienna, honestly. Is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. That's a pretty sepia. It really is. That's a pretty color. I'm gonna add a little water to that. And get our watery wash here. And then we're going to get us some in on these berries. We are almost done with this swatching, and then we can take a look at everything together. And then I'm going to open the floor up for any questions about the last pastel that we used, which was oil pastels. So if you have any questions about oil pastels, their use, blending them, anything like that, go ahead and kind of get them prepared. And I'll be taking those questions and answering that for you shortly, right before we jump off, because I have a couple of stops to make. The little carrier that takes everything to the post office for me has already stopped by, so that little bird has flown, but I still have some other things I need to get out and about in this rain for. Take me a couple of vitamin C tablets before I go out. I already have some sinus issues and definitely don't want to be sick and missing lives. So, yeah. Well, this is Payne's Gray. That's why you haven't said this is Payne's Gray. This is probably one of my favorite colors. And Prussian blue as well, simply because you can make Payne's Gray easily from Prussian blue. Yeah, I love this color. I don't know why. It's just so pretty to me. To me. I know some people who don't care for it. I've actually heard them say it, which is fine. Everything is not for everybody. You do you, whatever it be. That's what Megan Thee Stallion said. Um, Next up we have, and the Payne's Gray was PBK7, PB15, and PV19. So classic makeup. And last but not least, we have black. And for the white, we're going to have to pull a little trick. We'll do that in a second. I'm going to put the white at the very end. And decent black. Relatively opaque. PB. It's got to be PBK. Oh, it's a mix. Okay, no wonder it's not as strong as I thought it should be. It's a mixture of PBK7 and PB15. Now, I actually think that was probably an unnecessary mix, but who am I? Yeah, you can definitely tell. All right. Pretty color. Pretty color. Pretty. All right. Let's see if we can get this wash light enough and wet enough so that more black will flow into it. And I'm not going to clean that palette up, Patreon, just so you'll know. I don't want to get rid of any of that good juicy paint that's down there. We just be painting with it tonight. That's all. All right. And then the last one would be black. I mean, white. So I'm actually going to grab a black alcohol marker. And this is watercolor paper. Definitely not the ideal paper to use an alcohol marker on. It's soaking up so much ink right now. It's ridiculous. But it's a great way to swatch your white paint. See how opaque it is. All right. And we'll give it a second to dry. And then we will go in and do our white. Check the comments. I'm going to go ahead and swatch the white just to see what we have here. Okay, it ain't bad, you know. It ain't. It's a mixing white. It's definitely a mixing white. Something that you may be able to get some secondary highlights in. Something that you could add to your regular colors to give them a little bit more body. Maybe take them a little bit more towards the gouache realm. I just want to see how opaque this is going to be on regular white. You can see it. So, it's all to me, it's always a plus when you can put white paint down on a stark white paper and literally be able to see the cloudiness. So that's not bad, you know, not bad at all. Let's grab some mass tone and see if we're going to. It flows too. You guys may can't see that, but it does. It definitely flows. Okay. And there, friends, we have swatched out the Hemi paints. This is what they call their professional line. This and that last one we swatched was titanium white PW6. Now they have a light fast chart here showing you that the excellent would be 5 stars, 4 stars would be very good, 3 stars would be good, 2 stars would be fair, 1 star would be fugitive. The lowest I see anything on here is 3 stars. So according to them, nothing in this set is under being good. There's nothing considered fair, nothing considered fugitive. So, in that lingo, they're saying that anything you paint with these could last anywhere between the range of 0 up to 3 years. Very good. 100 years? I think that's right. I think that's right. I'd have to look at the light fast chart again to see what, the years that they cover. But I think it's a pretty decent set of paints. So far so good. I don't have any issues with them. They remind me a lot of the vibranium art. I'm going to be painting with them tonight, as I said earlier, over in the Creation Station. So if you are a Creation Station member, you can look forward to that post being put up really soon. And be sure to join us over there. Be sure to join us over there. Okay. Here are the paints that we've swatched today in our little whimsical swatching way. Now, I'm going to go back and be doing some glazing to these. I feel like I'm missing. Oh, here we go. I'm going to say, I feel like I'm missing. There we go, a sheet. So here are the colors that we had today. I think it's going to be a pretty decent set overall. Again, I'm going to be reserving um, my final opinion for final outcome. I will be going back and doing a glazing layer. We would do it now if we had some time, but we've kind of taken up most of the time with some talking here. So we're going to go ahead and get to wrapping this on up. But so far, so good. I'm glad I got a chance to unbox and swatch this set with you guys. I did want to kind of touch real quick. It's been 2 hours, yeah. Okay, so maybe I need to save that. I didn't realize that we're almost 2.5 hours in. Let me show you guys the new stuff that we have in the studio real quick, and then I'm going to be jumping off. And this is just a few things we will have coming up in the near future. Keep in mind, we will have the Paul Rubens 5th generation professional watercolor paint review coming up in the near future. We will be looking at the watercolor crayons that we got from Temu in the near future. There are still 3 more Thrifty Pastel Month prompts to get through, and I will be using a different sort of pastel medium for each one of them. We did oil pastels first. I do believe for this next one, we will either be using water soluble wax based oil pastels, also known as watercolor crayons, or we actually, uh, I said oil pastels, water soluble base waxed pastels, also known as watercolor crayons, or we may use water soluble oil pastels, which are different from regular oil pastels. Um, I've also thought that maybe I'll pull out colored pencils and just use pastel tones. Maybe I'll pull out watercolor paints and do a watercolor painting with pastel shade paints. Don't know yet, but definitely a lot of different things we could have coming up. So Bamboo mixed media paper. Hunter Mule has been rocking my world with their paper. So, really great supporter of the channel, Deca member and Patreon enthusiast. Sent originally the sugarcane paper. I used 1 sheet of the sugarcane paper, and I have not touched any of the rest of it because I'm determined to turn it into a sketchbook. That paper is amazing. So then I was asked if I wanted to try the bamboo paper. And I said, yes, of course. I'm always up for trying out a new product. And this is 90% bamboo fiber. It is 125 pounds. It seems just interesting, the concept altogether. So we are going to be cracking it up. And I don't know, maybe we will crack that open and paint on it in Patreon tonight with the Hemi paints. Who knows? Also, we have a 18 color set of Holbein HWC artist watercolors. As you guys know, I have been wanting to try this Japanese brand for quite a while, and I have finally, well, not finally, it's been here for a while, but either way, it's a blessing. It's here in the studio, and it will be making its debut shortly after we are done with the Paul Rubens set. And something that I have been dying to have because I think it is so cute. And I've never used any of their paints. Let me preface this with I've never used any of this company's paints, mainly because they're normally always so expensive. But this is the Schmika Academy Aquarelle paints. This is their student line. But the tin is so adorable. Look at that. Okay, let's open it. Let's open it. The tin is so cute. Oh my God. Gotta open it. Got my thingamabob, cutting around the ends there. Absolutely found my thingamabob. Haha. Take off the plastic. I hadn't planned on. Oh, this look is so cute. It's adorable. So I saw Lindsay review this thing, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you joking? That can't be." So it's here now. It is absolutely. Look at it. How unique is that palette? That's what I love. Ooh, fancy schmancy. And this is actually a student grade palette, but I just love the long. You guys know I like whimsical novelty palettes, and I just think this is so cute. It's even got a thumb ring. It's got the nerve to have a thumb ring on the back. This thing is too adorable. So we will be playing around and trying out the Um, Shmika Academy paints. So we got a lot coming up. We got a lot coming up. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the comment section one last time, and then I'm gonna jump off and go get some errands ran before it gets too thunderstormery. Not that that's a word. Outside, you can hear the thunder now. Um, yeah, get some of those things done, and then when I come back, I'm going to glaze the swatching. So I'll let you guys see in Patreon tonight the glazing, and then I'm gonna knock this little swatch sheet out. I'll get tonight's composition ready. Go ahead and get a traceable done. So I have quite a bit of work to do. So thank you so much for joining me. Didn't realize that about fixative. Yeah, be careful with fixative, definitely. Um, Thanks for joining me. Hopefully, you guys come back and hang out with me next Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Who knows what we'll be talking about, but I promise you it'll be something fun. I artsy love you, and remember, as I always tell you, just keep creating.